It's hard to imagine exactly what might be brewing behind the scenes at Newcastle United right now. While many fans try to rest after the season's end, the club's offices are buzzing with activity. Meetings, calls, and strategic planning are happening almost non-stop. The silence from St. James' Park might seem reassuring to some, but those who follow the Magpies closely know when everything appears calm, it usually means something huge is about to unfold. And this time, the rumors suggest that this something could change the club's status forever. Eddie Howe's name continues to resonate strongly in the corridors of power, but it's not just because of his achievements on the pitch. He is, it seems, gaining influence and respect where few managers do, in the decision-making room. The power shift underway might seem subtle to the public eye, but it has the potential to completely reshape Newcastle's transfer policy. While many supporters wait for news, the real battle for control of the club's future steps has already taken place, and the outcome could be far more exciting than anyone imagines. If you're a Newcastle fan and want to stay updated with these exclusive developments, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Here we deliver what others are still trying to figure out. Every click helps the channel grow and motivates us to keep bringing insider news, analyses, and first-hand updates. It's free, quick, and makes all the difference in keeping the Magpie Nation informed with quality content. What is unfolding behind the scenes at St. James' Park goes far beyond a simple transfer window. It's a power reshuffle, a silent but decisive reorganization pointing towards a new Newcastle. And this new project begins with the departure of a key figure. Paul Mitchell, the sporting director, who arrived surrounded by high expectations, is leaving. Along with him goes a more cautious and traditional approach to negotiations. The club is now preparing the ground for a new way to operate in the market, more ambitious, more aggressive, and, according to reliable sources, with a budget that challenges the limits of what we thought possible. And this is exactly where the big revelation starts to take shape. According to analysis by Adam Williams, head of finance at TBR Football, Newcastle United could spend up to £500 million on signings this summer without breaching the Premier League's profit and sustainability rules (PSR). Yes, you heard that right. £500 million available to transform the squad. This means that, for the first time in a long while, Newcastle has not only the desire but also the legal means to compete financially with Europe's football giants. And all of this under the increasingly strong leadership of Eddie Howe, who emerges as a central figure in this new era. This information was detailed by Adam Williams and published by TBR Football, one of the most respected sources on sports finance in the UK, according to Williams. Newcastle's operational losses in recent periods remain within acceptable limits, and with increased revenues, the club has enough margin to invest heavily without jeopardizing its accounts. Furthermore, the Magpies' qualification for the Champions League injects even more resources and opens new business opportunities. Most impressively, the club's owners, according to Williams himself, are willing to fund this investment, believing this is the moment to take the project to the next level. But hold on, spending £500 million doesn't mean just throwing money around without control. The expert highlights that transfers are amortized over 5 years, meaning the impact on annual accounts is manageable. This implies that Newcastle could, in theory, sign several high-profile players without exceeding the loss limits set by the Premier League. Moreover, the club can do so without worrying about owner backing, as the Saudi group has made clear their intent to invest the maximum allowed under the PSR. If you've made it this far into the video, you'll know that the coming weeks promise to be full of excitement. So if you're not subscribed yet, take this moment to join the channel. That way you won't miss a single detail of this new era. And it doesn't stop there. Paul Mitchell's departure paves the way for a more centralized decision-making model around Eddie Howe, who will now have a strong say not only in the type of players to be signed but also in the negotiations. With greater autonomy, the manager can shape the squad in his own image, something rare in modern football, especially at clubs with major investors. This new scenario places Newcastle in a strategically advantageous position, especially in a transfer window where many rivals will be constrained by the PSR behind the scenes. The club is also working on renewing contracts with key players like Callum Wilson. The striker, who still has a market in the Premier League, is in talks to extend his deal with the Magpies. Meanwhile, as discussions with Wilson continue, the club is moving to secure the stays of other crucial names such as Bruno Guimaraes and Alexander Isak. Keeping these players will be as vital as bringing in new signings, and all signs point to this being a clear priority for the board. Speaking of Isak, the possibility of a new contract is already being discussed, with optimism on both sides. The Swedish forward adapted quickly to the Premier League and is seen as one of the club's big stars for the future. Insider reports suggest Isak is willing to stay at St. James' Park if the project remains ambitious and competitive, exactly the vision shaping this new phase. This highlights even more the need for fans to closely follow every update. So if you haven't liked the video yet, now's the time. However, despite the prospect of significant investment, Newcastle maintains a strategy of cautious prudence. The goal is not just to sign stars, but to make smart acquisitions. Player turnover will remain part of the process, ensuring financial balance and room for new additions to the squad. Williams emphasized that the club has learned from each transfer window, adjusting its approach and always seeking market opportunities that deliver both technical and financial returns. Another key point is Newcastle's entry into UEFA's financial assessment system. Now that the club is competing again in European competitions, it must also comply with the continental body's requirements, which have stricter rules than the Premier League regarding financial control. However, according to Williams, any potential UEFA rule breaches shouldn't be seen as a major issue. Newcastle is reportedly prepared to handle fines and moderate sanctions, much like other clubs such as Chelsea and Aston Villa already do. In fact, this detail shows how much Newcastle has matured institutionally in recent years. The club understands that being among the elite requires not only strong performances on the pitch but also solid strategies off it. Balancing boldness with financial responsibility is now a cornerstone of the Saudi management, and with the fans increasingly engaged, the timing couldn't be better. So, take a moment to comment below. What would be the ideal signing for the Magpies this summer? We read everything. Therefore, Newcastle fans, the message is clear. The club is entering a new era, with resources, ambition, and above all, a plan. Eddie Howe steps into the spotlight, Paul Mitchell bids farewell, and a historic transfer window approaches. The outlook is promising, but success will depend on the decisions made in the coming months. Here on the channel, you'll follow it all exclusively with analysis and depth. If you haven't subscribed yet, now is the perfect time to join this journey, because the future is black and white, and it starts now.